Hello gardeners. So bees, butterflies, and other insects add so much color and life and interest to our gardens. Today we're going to be talking about the best plants for pollinators so that you can see these insects buzz around right in your own garden. Here in August, I'm going to start right here with Summersweet. This beautiful shrub, also called sweet pepperbush, and that word sweet is alluding to its fragrance. I know this shrub is in bloom from the minute I walk into my garden, not because I see it, but I can smell its fragrance. It attracts bees, butterflies, and all kinds of other insects. There are a number of varieties available. The species can grow about 8 feet high. Some of them will grow only about 5 or 6 foot tall, and there's much smaller versions that grow about 3 foot tall. Here you are seeing the beautiful pink and white flowers of my Summersweet shrub. They start out a deeper pink, and as they open, they fade to white. This cultivar is Rosea. Summersweet has glossy green leaves that offer good yellow fall color. As with most native plants, it requires little maintenance and needs minimal pruning, usually just enough to help it maintain its shape. This plant is easy to grow and is adaptable to many conditions, thriving in sandy soils as well as in heavy clay and in dry to wet soils. In fact, its natural habitat includes river edges. It grows in full sun to shade and is one of the few shrubs that can actually flower in shady areas, although it's going to produce a lot more flowers in sunny areas. Talk about a plant that will always be abuzz with activity. This is Anisis, and you can really enjoy its beautiful lavender blooms over a very long period of time. It will bloom for many, many weeks. Once it starts blooming, if you deadhead it, it's going to go pretty much into the fall. And you're always going to have pollinators on it, everything from bees to smaller butterflies to other wasps and other creatures. This plant is also very fragrant. When the leaves are crushed, it smells of anise, and it can be used as well in all types of recipes for those of you who like to cook and you'd like to cook with it as well. And another great positive attribute is that it's very deer resistant. If you check Native Plant Channel, I have a video dedicated just to this plant where you can learn more about how to grow it, but it does like to grow in full sun. Normally it grows 3 to 4 feet tall, although because it does reseed and it can reseed prolifically, especially in dry areas. So if you have a hot, dry, rocky area, this plant will do well for you as well. It can sometimes, because it's coming up from seed, occasionally you'll get a plant that's as tall as 6, 7 feet. If you'd like to get to know some insects that you've never seen before, plant mountain mint. This plant is always buzzing with everything from honeybees to native bees to small butterflies to also skippers, which are butterflies as well, and just a number of all kinds of insects, some of them with metallic colors, things you've never seen before. It grows to about 3 foot tall and begins blooming in July, goes well into September, blooming and attracting insects. It is clump forming, so although it is in the mint family, don't let that scare you off. Being in the mint family, it has been used to make a mild tea from its leaves, and Native Americans used it for treatment of colds, fevers, and stomach aches. But this plant does very well in full sun. It does well in medium to dry soils, tolerates drought very well, grows in zones 4 to 8. It's easy care. The only thing you have to do is wait till late spring when you can cut back the previous season's growth. doesn't need staking. It will stay up through, very erect through storms, through whatever. It will not need staking. So this is just a wonderful plant to help out all our insects, and it looks attractive with those silvery bracts that surround the actual true flowers in the center. Although the flowers themselves are really nothing spectacular if you look at the flower here in the center, but they sure do attract insects. But those silvery bracts will look very attractive even from a distance. Look at the beautiful rosy tones of Joe Pye, a plant for the hot summer months, end of July into August. This will always be abuzz with activity as well. If you prefer one that grows shorter, there are varieties that grow only till about 3 feet. There are others that grow as tall as 7 feet. So there is a wide variety of plants available to suit your needs. Some prefer drier soils, some will grow in wet soils. So do your research on this one, and you can find one that will meet your needs and feed your pollinators. In order to provide food, nectar for insects, you need to consider plants that bloom at different times during the year. So it's not just what's blooming in midsummer, it's what's blooming in early spring, what's blooming in the fall. And I'm going to review those plants for you here. As the weather begins warming up in March, there's not a lot blooming. So as insects become active, they really need a source of food. One of the best plants for this is going to be willows. Look for your native willows, whether it is black willow, pussy willow, others. These are key plants in providing nectar to our insects in the early spring. However, be aware that weeping willows, which are so familiar to gardeners, are not native, so please don't look for weeping willows. You probably haven't thought of blueberries as a great pollinator plant, but they are. These low-growing to medium-sized shrubs help our pollinators, and you would also get the additional benefit of being able to eat blueberries if the birds don't beat you to them. What you are doing in including native plants in your garden is spectacular, and I really appreciate all you're doing to make our world a better place, starting right in your own garden. We always associate holly with those beautiful red berries in the winter. However, in order to produce those berries, hollies do flower. And although we don't notice them that much, the insects sure do. Take a look at all the activity here in spring. Here in my New Jersey garden, this happens in May. Look how much food hollies are providing for our insects. So consider that, and you'll have an evergreen shrub that then also gives you berries for the birds in winter. As summer ends and fall begins, this is a key time for insects as far fewer flowers are blooming. So this is a really important time to stock up your gardens so that you can help them out. The best plants are going to be in the aster family and are the asters, along with goldenrods. They provide all kinds of flowers and nectar, and they are available from smaller sizes to taller growing. They're available where they will take more shade to full sun, and also from wetter to drier soils. So look into your asters, look into your goldenrods. There are so many of them out there to meet your needs, and they're really necessary at this critical time of the year. One thing we have to consider is that July and August are months when pollinators are easily found in our gardens, but they don't live only in July and August. So we have to make sure we are providing habitat for them for their entire life cycle and not just for when we see them buzzing around. That requires us to provide places for them to hide over the winter. It requires places for them to be able to create their nests, which is sometimes underground. So some of the things that you need to do is to not clean up your garden early in the spring. Wait until the weather has warmed up and is steadily in the 60-degree range before you cut back your garden. Do not remove leaves in the fall. Many insects hide in those leaves. That's how they overwinter. That's what keeps them safe in the winter. So these are some of the things you need to do in order to make sure that these insects are living in your garden year-round. After all, just like humans, we start out as babies in diapers. They don't start out as the adults you see flying around. You are amazing for including native plants in your garden, for learning how to create better ecosystems and sustainable habitats right at home. Thanks for the job that you are doing. Please subscribe to Native Plant Channel and watch the many videos available on YouTube at Native Plant Channel to help you include more native plants in your garden and create not only a more beautiful garden, but one that is home to so many pollinators. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.